This is how it looks in your 20s, and this is how it looks in your 50s.
Pass the test. You're on the team.
One more night on the island.
Yeah. You've earned your food.
Yeah. That's how you do it. My name's Travis Reynolds, and I'm currently living on the north shore of Oahu with my family, 2 kids, my beautiful lady, and been shaping for 25 years. It's my 25th anniversary this year.
Right, I guess it doesn't matter.
I'm holding one of my prized possessions. It's a Yater Spoon from '66, and yeah, it's just Yater has been a big inspiration on me with his shapes for many different reasons, but this board came into my life about 10 years ago, and I can't seem to get off of it. Yater's been inspiration for me, particularly for his attention to detail in the work that he does, his longevity of doing the craft, his lifestyle that he's lived through his career. Just kind of a no-frills, simple living guy, but just takes a lot of pride in his work, and you can see it in everything that he touches. I thought that, coming to this area where we're at around Rincon, it would be doing everyone a service to see one of his crafts that he designed around the waves here so long ago, and just trying to envision the time period from when this was made in the early 60s and how progressive this was for that time and how functional it still is for these waves. This is a 910. It's the spoon model that Yater designed for the waves around here. It has this step deck in it, which was designed to eliminate swing weight on these heavier old boards so they would turn easier. And them not knowing, they kind of stumbled upon something with it, in that the thinness in the nose that was taken out, it actually ended up working well on the nose. As you walk to the nose, the rocker would straighten out and speed up the board. So they kind of stumbled upon this thing back then, trying to make a board turn better, but in the same time making it nose ride better. So it really became the best all-around board for the time. I think this is what all the top surfers of the time were striving to make during this small period of time. I know Mickey Dora loved to ride these boards. His cat model was based off of this, and many others. And the amazing thing about this design is it's still so progressive looking. Like, the outline of this board looks just like a modern longboard. It looks like what most people are striving to make these days. And the rails are just what everybody's trying to do. It's like, after all these years, this board is just still state of the art.
They talked to Phil Edwards, and then they said that they were going to go do something with Rennie, and Phil Edwards was like, Rennie's my favorite shaper.
Really? That's huge. Yeah.
Same with Donald.
Donald
said the same.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just, over the years, Rennie has inspired all these board builders and surfers, and he's just lived this humble life, and I don't think he expected much. He wasn't out for the fame or anything. He just loved the craft and riding waves, and inspired so many people along the way for generations, and it'd be interesting to see how far this design will go into the future and still be relevant. I think it'll never die. So this is a 5'9" Swedish fish. It's my Swedish fish model. The first one of these I shaped in 2001 for a buddy of mine, and I didn't really know what I was doing. It was my first year of shaping, and was into 80s fishes and San Diego list fishes and all that at that time, but I hadn't shaped one, and a friend of mine ordered one, and we just playing around with curves and concave deck and all this stuff that's still in this board. That first one everybody loved. I don't know, we just got lucky with it, or I got lucky shaping it, but it was a super fun board, and the board lasted a while. This was on the North Shore where it was shaped, and yeah, it started my curiosity for this shape way back then. And come 24 years later, I haven't diverted too far from that first one. I've tried to push the boundaries of more rocker, thinner, different bottom contours, but decided to go back to what I originally did in that first board and try to stick with that model and try to develop it over the years. At one point it went to a quad, and I was messing with that, and then ended up falling back on the twin fin, and it's just become this tried and true board that most people connect with. Like most of the boards I make, they're pretty simple. I try not to get too crazy with bottom contours and rockers and things, but this one has some V in the tail. It's got some double concave. It has a little panel out towards the rail that kind of releases the water out of the concave, and also when the water's feeding into the fin zone, it just creates a good flow. This is one of those boards that surprisingly handles kind of bigger, hollower waves, but also you can ride knee-high waves like I did today on it, and it just has a lot, I don't know, it's like, I don't know how to say it. It's kind of durable in the sense that, not in strength, but it durable in the range of waves and situations it can handle. This is an 8.5. Doesn't have a model name, but it's definitely a go-to. It's had a kind of a funny beginning. Thomas Campbell and Ryan Birch were in Santa Cruz and looking to build a board together. So I wasn't around, but they jumped into my shaping bay, and I just said, grab whatever, you guys make whatever you want in there. And Birch grabbed a blank. I didn't know what he grabbed some templates, I'm sure, and whittled out a board. I ended up glassing the board, and Thomas loved it. It was the magic stick for years, and he asked me to recreate one similar to it down the road. And after missing a couple times, I thought about it and realized that the blank that was used was a 9.3 blank with a nose rider rocker, which is so different than this shape. And it took me a while to figure out where the placement was in the blank, because this is 8.5 and the blank's 9.3, so you have room to go forward or backward in there. And rethinking it, took some templates that lined up with the outline that we had, which was very similar to my stone fruit model that I've been making for years, but had some little different details in it. So after finding the placement, it all came together. It just made sense. It clicked. As soon as the planer started going, it just kind of fell into place. And now I order the nose my nose ride rocker on a big old blank to shape this every time, and it just comes together. It's one of those boards that is super fun in knee-high waves and well overhead waves. And it has this ability to turn from the center of the board that a lot of boards in this size range don't do. So it's a pretty exciting, lively board to ride. And it's kind of the Swiss Army knife board in that, you know, you could ride it in all sorts of things. It's a pretty simple design. It just has a continuous rocker through the board, so there's no real straight points in the rocker. And the bottom contours are very simple, just little slight V through the board. It is unusual for a board to have continuous rocker like this one has. What the continuous rocker does for you is it creates curve throughout the whole bottom, a consistent curve that fits in the curve of the wave really nice. And it also opens up the sweet spot of where you can stand. So opposed to having a tight, narrow sweet spot where the curve of the board is in one area, this one has curve, like an equal amount of curve through the board, through the bottom, which means you can basically turn the board in almost any position on the board. And it'll function and flow through whatever you throw at it. So this board has some slight V through most of the board. So with all the curve in the bottom of the board and all the foam kind of displaced through the decks look really flat on these boards, which can be deceiving to look at it, but like you would think, it's not going to fit in the wave well. But this thing just, you know, late drop, big wave, whatever you throw at it seems to navigate it really well. And I just believe that all that curve in the bottom and the way the water flows through it, it just suits the ocean's movement well. It just flows right through.
And it's so weird, like how many times we failed. I failed with Brian. We failed because we weren't diagnosing that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then we finally diagnosed it correctly. And then, I mean, that's not what Brian does.
Yeah.
That's not what his boards have, like a regular kind of like V flat roll, you know, like,
Yeah.
no, I don't think anyone has that.
Yeah. Well, the stone fruit model that I've been making for years and years and years has the more standard V, the flat, slight concave, and roll up front that is pretty typical in this style of board that you see these days. So this one not having that, coming out of such a random blank for a board like this to come out of, it's just one of those happy accidents that turned into a magic stick. And it's just so fun to ride. Also on these, the wide point looks like it's forward and teardroppy. It's upside down right now, but really the wide point on these is farther back than you would imagine, which creates quite a bit of curve in between your feet and also opens the board up and just makes it flow through the water really nice. Recently, the past year, we moved back to Hawaii with my family, and you know, that's where I started building boards. My first board was shaped on Oahu, and it just feels really special to be back there over all this time, building boards in the same area where I started. I'm all these old boards from, like the first couple hundred boards I made. I'm starting to see some of those still over there in Hawaii, still being used, and being able to look back at those and kind of just be like, "Whoa, I was kind of onto something." You're like always trying to improve, but these old boards, they actually had something there, and that's feels special to be there. It feels great to be there with family. I love the Hawaiian culture and the people there, and the pace of life, and just feels like a great chapter to be in. Over the years of building boards, over the 25 years it's been now, the biggest takeaway is that I have so much to learn still, and I feel like with all that learning, there's a lot of things that were made in the past that are still relevant, and I think we should always take a moment to look back and take away from the good stuff that happened back then and put it into what we're doing now or in the future, and just keep moving the magic around, I guess, pulling it from back, moving it forward. There's just, it's kind of endless, and that's what keeps me going with this. It's just the constant learning, being open to new things, and just being inspired by the people that surround us.